Well then, guys, thanks for joining us. We've got our first guest, Mad Fade's Voices of Vintage podcast. I'd like to introduce you to Jonty from Nighttime Vintage. If you'd like to give us a little bit of information about yourself, that'd be really good, Jonty.
Yeah, how are you doing? So my name's Jonty. I run Nighttime Vintage. I've been doing this full time for about coming up to 2 years now. I've been doing vintage in general since about 2017, and I own my own store in the northwest of the UK.
Pushing 7 years then?
Yeah, I just started originally back in the day, just doing bits and bobs, and then I've kind of done it on and off for years, and then I've just essentially come back to it in the last year or two, but I won't give you too much because I'm sure you'll want to ask me about that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. So what is your background then before getting into vintage? What was your work?
I originally went back in 2016, 2017. I was just at college. I used to just go around the charity shops and just see what I could find type of thing. I think pretty much just as anyone starts. And then from there, I've worked at various jobs, mostly just either working in shops or mostly just like admin jobs and like financial kind of stuff. Nothing that interested me too much, but yeah.
How old are you now?
I'm 25.
Oh yeah, so good age to start then, and you've got about 5-6 years of experience as well.
Yeah, it meant when I came back to it, I knew pretty much what I was doing. Like going at it full time, I had a pretty good grounding on what I'd sell and what's good and what's not.
Yeah, I get you. Where do you prefer to sell your items?
Depop's my main one. Vinted I also use. I do occasionally use eBay, although I should probably use it more, to be honest. Trying to think what else. I do have my own website as well, which I'm trying to push a bit more at the moment. So I'm going to be doing a bit more advertising for that and try to push that a bit more currently.
Cool. Is that like a Shopify thing?
Yeah, it's a Shopify store. I think in the future it'd make more sense to try and push as much traffic to it as possible, so then it's completely controlled by me.
Definitely, that's what we do. We use Shopify, and it links to TikTok now, which is dead cool.
Oh yeah.
You have to, like you have to pay fees on eBay and everything. There's only vintage, which is like there's no fees.
Yeah, to be fair, they did just get rid of fees on eBay as well, didn't they? So that's it helps. I think Vinted sort of forced the hand a little bit with a lot of these places because they were stealing so much business from them, more or less.
Definitely, mate. Yeah. What I was going to say is that all the money that you save not having to pay fees, you just have to spend on advertising anyway and marketing.
Yeah, that's the way I sort of see it, because a lot of the time when you're using a platform like Vinted, Depop, eBay, although I know you're not paying fees anymore, but when you were paying fees, the way I justified it was that money that I'm paying in fees is this, I'd be paying way more if I was paying for my own advertising and doing it all just specifically through Shopify. So that's how I used to justify it to myself. Obviously, it's a bit different now. They've got rid of the fees, but you're still paying them to a certain extent.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I think you're right. And at least at the end of it all, you own something. It's yours.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, then. So you've been doing about 7 years. Have you seen any changes in those 7 years?
Yeah, definitely. When I first came back to it full time, I more or less just bought what was previously quite popular. Because when I first started doing it, you see a lot of people selling the big things were like Tommy Hilfiger jumpers, Ralph Lauren jumpers, things with the big spell outs on the front. And I wouldn't say that's changed per se. I think there's still that element of it, but people started to move away from that. Another one was more of like the high end stuff. So I used to quite enjoy. I used to try and get as much like old Burberry stuff, and I used to get like old Louis Vuitton bags and stuff like that. But the market for them just became more niche. And I mean, not that it was like a widespread market anyway, but it seemed to become even more so. When you look back to like 2016 to like 2019, when people used to just all be about wearing like as many logos as humanly possible. And it meant as that changed and people decided to go a bit more subtle, then sort of things started moving along. So I think I remember specifically some of the things that used to be super expensive was them Tommy Hilfiger like quarter zip fleeces. They used to see them for like 70, 80 quid. And then now you can pick them up for like 20 or 30. And in the same way, Carhartt did a complete 180 and, wasn't that much. And now it went massive. It's obviously died down again since, but during COVID and whatnot. Yeah,
COVID was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Yeah. I kind of wish I was more into it at the time because I sort of missed out on a bit of a golden window there because I think a lot of people were buying vintage, but it's what it is.
We were selling 20 quid t-shirts for like 70 quid.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Everyone I speak to who was selling during COVID, they just said, "Oh, it was the glory days." And I'm like, "Oh, for God's sake, I was busy working an admin job."
I don't want to go too deep, but I wanted to see if you've learned anything from Vintage, if it's changed you anything like personally.
Personally, I'd say it taught me a lot of like the skills in terms of like, I mean, going out and having to run your own business, and also having to learn your own business and having to learn sort of the psychology of how to sell something. Even though I know it's online, it's quite different. So like if you were selling like a car, for example, or something like that, something in person. But
yeah,
there's still a lot of elements to it in terms of like actually attracting people to something and pushing someone just over that line where they actually buy it. Because it's all well and good when you have an item with like 300, 400 likes or something like that, but if no one's buying it, it's
definitely
not converted, is it?
No. It's I think that's one of my main problems. Like if I put a jumper up for 60 quid and someone offers 45, I've got a really bad habit of saying no, I want 55 quid. And then it's ghost town after that.
I've started doing that a little bit more recently, where a lot of my shorts, a lot of my Y2K shorts that were always my big seller, they pretty much consistently I list for 45 quid, because I thought 45 quid's a nice ballpark where you can list some of your high-end stuff like your South Poles and stuff like that, but you can also list some of your not so high-end stuff, but the price is always consistent. And I found that it's very easy to get caught up on the price of something and be like, well, I paid this, but at the end of the day, if you've got like, if I'm ordering jeans, I'll get like 300-400 at a time. It's very easy to sit there and quabble over like a tenner, but in the long run, take the profit, you can reinvest that, you can move it forward to buy more profit. I think it's quite easy to get caught up on something when in the grand scheme of things, it's not really worth the...
definitely. Take the money and run, as they say. or sometimes the first offer is your best offer.
I think it's just easy to get caught up. And I think a lot of the time, if someone sends you an offer that you think is like insulting, I think it's quite easy to immediately have quite a visceral reaction to that. But a lot of the time these days, I try and take a step back and think about it in terms of like, okay, well, that is a low offer, but how much did I pay for it? Am I going to be, I'm still making money. Maybe I could have got more, but at the time he was offering this much, I took it. And then it's like, it's money now, not potential money later. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. Your jort selection and jean shorts, for those who don't know what that means, is absolutely wicked. I was admiring your Depop earlier on. And
thank you.
For those who don't know, I did some buying with Jonty. I think he sold me about 35 pairs of Levi's. Nice stuff. They went straight. We've got a retail shop, straight into the retail shop, and I think they've all gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So good deal. You can give me a good deal. Obviously, you made a bit as well. That's what it's about, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It was. I got them a while ago from a wholesaler that shut down in the UK. I actually can't remember the name of them now. It was a bit of a generic name, but they shut down. And when they were shutting down, I bought quite a bit of their stock. And I just essentially bought too much. And like a lot of things in this office, you can't really tell from where I'm sat, but this is a fairly decent sized office. But a lot of things get popped down sort of for the future, and then about a year later, I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do with them? So at the moment, I've actually just started. I've just got a load of new Y2K jorts, and I'm actually doing about 100 pairs of them this month. Say again, sir?
That's wicked. What are your favorite brands to sell? What are you into?
My favorite brands to sell, damn. South Pole is always a favorite of mine. I pretty much anything South Pole I can get my hands on. I've got South Pole jumpers, South Pole jeans, jorts. A lot of them I'll scoop for myself. But to be honest, in terms of like brands I wear, like I'm wearing a Harley Davidson jumper right now, but a lot of the time I'll just kind of pick and choose. Like I used to be quite brand loyal, whereas these days I'll kind of, because I just get so much in, I'll just kind of pick through stuff, and occasionally I'll just be like, oh yeah, I'll just try that on. Yeah. And just a bit of an as and when, but I think if I had to choose brand, it would be South Pole. Definitely.
Oh, I'll check it out. I don't even know about that. I'm Levi's guy, aren't I? I'm a bit older than you. Yeah. South Pole, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, they're more of like a state brand, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I used to originally when I first started, I used to get a lot of Levi's in, and then I don't know. It's not like I moved away from them, but I just started getting into different brands, so it took me down different routes. But then recently, I've started getting back into my Levi's a bit more. Like I was telling you, I've got a couple of 100 pairs of 501s coming soon, and they're just it's great. You know, I think it's very easy to like it's good to find a niche to a certain extent with the things you're selling, like because then people are sort of associated with that niche. But at the same time, you've got to have the stuff that sort of keeps the lights on. You know, things like 501s, doesn't matter the time of year, doesn't matter the trend, they're always going to sell.
Yeah, that's why we do it. We've got 2 little shops, but the bigger one is in like a large antique centre. At the very front of an antique centre, we've got a good space, to be fair. But the way it kind of works is it's got its own car park and a cafe there, and people come along to buy expensive antiques. And if they can't find what they're looking for, nobody likes to leave empty-handed. So that's when, you know, the geezers, or there's a lot of women as well, they'll buy a pair of 501s because, like, you know, they want to go home with something. So it kind of works. Yeah. But you get sick of jeans, honestly. I do anyway. Don't know about you. But it pays the bills.
Yeah, well, it's just one of them ones that, like, a lot of the time, especially if I'm ordering, because I quite like to handpick my stock. So in the sort of, like, in terms of, like, you know, your cost of your stock and things like that, 90% of the time it's going to be cheaper to just buy it in a massive amount of bulk. And it's all well and good doing it with certain things, like 501s. It's not too bad because, you know, 95% of them are all going to be the same. It's the same when you see a lot of these guys on Depop who will sell like thousands of pairs of trackies. It's because they can buy them all. They're all going to be roughly the same.
Yeah.
So, however, when it comes to things like my jorts and stuff like that, it's a fine line of what I like and what I think will sell. So it is one of the things where I do spend the time and I will go and handpick, and it costs a bit more, it takes a bit more time. Is it probably worth it sometimes? Probably not. But I like to, you know, it's a bit of integrity for your shop, isn't it? If that's what you sell, you want it to be the best.
I love the way you've curated it as well. It looks like you're a jeans and shorts specialist, so people are going to build trust straight away into it as a buyer. Cool.
Yeah, you'd hope so, right?
So you mentioned your favourite brand, that Southport. Have you got any grail pieces or like absolute treasured possessions that you could just not let go of?
I think I've bought a couple. Yeah, I've got a couple of pieces in my wardrobe that I actually don't really wear that much anymore, but I would never sell them. I'm trying to think. I've had I got a couple of Louis Vuitton bags that I bought way back when, and once again, I never wear them, and like I'm not sure when I even would wear them, but they're just I got them for a decent price at the time, and I remember thinking, oh, that was a good deal, and then just ever since it's just sat there, and I don't want to sell it, and I just don't think it'd be worth selling it. I think if I tried to sell it, I'd probably get about the same, or maybe a little bit more, but at the same time, it's like it's just there now. And another one was I used to really quite big into older Versace, and I've got a couple of original sort of like I think they're about 96, 97 Gianni Versace like La Medusa spell out t-shirts, and I've got a couple of them. They're like a thick jumper material, but a t-shirt, and that I'd never sell that either. Yeah,
I love this. That's my life. When I was out clubbing when I was young, Versace, Armani were the brands, you know. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, then. So you've mentioned a few times about the way you buy. Occasionally, you buy in bulk. Let's get into that because we buy in bulk as well, so it's always interesting. Yep. What you mentioned, you like handpicking and buying in bulk. What's the typical, you know, purchasing experience look like for you? Are you going abroad? Are you doing the UK? Are you buying everything for 6 months in one go, or are you always buying? How's it look?
I mean, it depends. Generally speaking, I try to get my stock in as, you know, I'll try and get 200-300 pieces, whatever, of something. Say, for example, it's been shorts this week. I'm trying to get them done before the weather changes. But at the same time, I also bought the exact same amount in jeans. So the idea being that I'm going to try and get all these sold this month. Once they're all gone, I'll switch it to jeans and then go from there. And then probably what I'll do is by the time they're sold, I'll probably reorder some more jeans or reorder something else. I try and keep it so I've at least got. Someone actually said to me not that long ago. They said, "What?" They said, "Do you ever think you'll ever get to a point where you haven't got anything to list?" And I was like, "Well, no, because then I'm doing something wrong. If there's nothing to list, then I haven't ordered enough." But in terms of like, you know, a lot of the time I usually just order from like I'll either use UK wholesalers, which I think most people do. And then occasionally I will go abroad. I can't go into too much detail for that one because it's not special keep. But it depends. I know I still do use a lot of UK wholesale stuff because I think in terms of the price, a lot of the time, if it's things like basics, like I've been getting into a lot of like vintage t-shirts and whatnot. Like I don't know if you can actually see right now, but
Which good.
There-ish. There's a couple of boxes there full of like it's quite hard to do reverse. Load of like old 2000s t-shirts and Nike t-shirts. I've also got quite a lot of like Harley Davidson t-shirts and stuff like that. A lot of these UK wholesalers, if I went abroad, just the shipping cost alone wouldn't really make it worth it. I'd end up spending more just getting them shipped over. So because obviously they bring in so much with containers, sea mail compared to airmail, so it is a lot cheaper. But yeah, in terms of like my jeans and stuff like that, I just have sort of like a couple of guys I go to who are like sort of my go-to guys, and like
it's busy.
I don't tend to change them very often. I've used a couple of different people in the past, but I've sort of found a good formula now that I like to stick with. It's probably the message I get most is people asking me where they get it from, and I'm like, well, can't really tell you that, but
I get asked that a lot as well. It's ridiculous, really, isn't it? But
well, I understand some people are quite polite about it and just say, look, I'm not looking for exactly where you get it from, but I'm wanting to do something similar. And I'm like, well, I don't mind giving out a bit of advice in terms of like, who to avoid and who to join. Not that I'm gonna.
But, the thing is, remember, most of these UK wholesalers that you see on Instagram and stuff like that, they're buying from the real sources in Karachi and Punjab and Bangladesh. But they're sharing containers together. You can buy direct from them if you know where to look. It takes longer to get to you, and some of them will send to you before you pay, which is they will invoice you after it's arrived. All you got to do is build them relationships.
For sure. I mean, to be honest, all my stuff I pay when I receive it, but that's because I've been doing business with them for like, I don't know, maybe a year now.
So that's the way to speak. I like that.
Yeah. Well, it's just one of them things where, like, I remember speaking to my dad about it actually one time, and he just said to me, he was like, "Well, why would they send it to you? Sort of, why have that much trust?" And I was like, "Well, because it's a mutual relationship. If we keep, there is no reason for me to not pay, because then I'm out of supplier, and on their end, they know I'm gonna, if they don't pay, I'll just come find someone else. It's one of them, really." So it's a mutually beneficial relationship, and it's obviously it takes a while to curate that sort of trust, but it's.
The thing about you, but the Indian guys I deal with in Karachi and places like that, and Bangladesh, I find they're so much nicer to work with than the English ones, and the hurdles the English ones put up in front of people. Like you see the reviews when they won't take returns and stuff after they've shipped out a load of crap. And it's off-putting to a lot of like young guns who want to get into it. Whereas the Bangladeshi guys are unreal. They know about hospitality. They know about customer service. That's how the way it should be, really. But you can't do that in England, can you? Because it costs too much money.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of these UK guys as well will have a lot of financial backing, so they can, they're in a position if they're spending, because some of these containers, they cost $100,000 or whatever, they go over it, and like some of the massive ones, and to have that much financial investment into it, and then to also they try and streamline it as much as possible, which I respect. I understand why they're doing it, because they don't want to have that conversation. They want to have it streamlined to the point where it's just a website. You buy it from them, they ship it, done. And it makes more financial sense. But I know what you're saying in terms of like, because obviously I've dealt with guys in Karachi, Pakistan, India, Delhi, and the hospitality is always great. Yeah, I must admit. But I think it's just a lot of these UK guys just have so much financial backing that they just want to get it done. And I think a lot of the times as well, whenever I've looked into them, they're not normally owned by just like that one person. There's usually a sister company that's involved in it. And I mean, I'm speculating a bit, but I've seen just from checking like company house and stuff like that. I remember trying to look for a company that weren't in business anymore. And I just tried looking them up, and I remember seeing, and I was like, "Oh, I don't recognize that guy's name," because I dealt with them in the past, and I didn't want to go down too much of a wormhole. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And it's strange, isn't it? Because if I'm going to spend $3 or $4 grand with somebody, first thing I'm going to do is check them out, see if they've liquidated at any point or gone into admin. And it's the first thing. And they're always fabric companies or rag companies. and it's like you're buying from the third line usually of a company, and it's like, oh, do I trust them? Yeah, it's tricky business.
Yeah, it can be. Luckily, I've never been stung, touch wood, but I know people who have been.
Okay, mate, I've got a few interesting ones for you. So what's the, if I understand if you don't want to share it, if you've got like a bolo or something you don't want to share, well, what's the biggest profit or biggest haul you've ever had?
Ooh, I could probably share that one. So I don't really have time anymore to go and, like I said originally, I used to go and check charity shops. I used to go and check car boots and stuff like that. I don't really have time anymore. I just get too much in. So I just don't have the time. But every now and then there is a charity shop that I go past, and the guy in there, really nice guy, manager, I know him really well. I've been speaking to him for years. And occasionally he'll just come past and he'll just say, "Oh, I've got some up here for you." And I'm like, "All right, sweet," and I'll have a look. And it was just a mixed bag of all sorts. And I whipped out this one T-shirt, and I looked at it and I thought, "Oh, that's cool." Didn't really think much of it, but I saw it was like an older tag. I can't remember which one it was now, if it was like a Hanes or something like that. But I knew it was roughly 90. So I was like, "Oh yeah, get 20 quid for that one." So took it all home. And then when I got home, I checked it and I realized it was a tour T-shirt. And I was like, "All right, who's this?" And I whipped it around. It was an old Oasis 2 T-shirt from 90, I think it was 1996, 1997. Be Here Now. If you're an Oasis fan, you'll know you'll know that. But
97.
Yeah. I text my mate because it's got the picture of the Bristol in the pool on the chest, and then like the big logo on the back. And I text my mate, and he was a big Oasis fan. And I said, "Oh, I got an Oasis T-shirt if you want." And he was like, "Oh, try and sell it first, and if it doesn't, then let me know." And I had a look online. Bear in mind, I think I bought it for like 2 quid. And I checked online, and they were going for anywhere from 300 to about 500. I'm like, bloody hell. In the end, though, I had a guy message me. I think I had it for a month. I think I had it for 350. And I had a guy message me in the end and offered me about 200. And I thought, do I want to wait? I thought, oh, come on, then I'll just have it. So, yeah. Once again, it's easy to sit there and think, oh, I could have got more. But
yeah.
How often are people spending 350 quid in an Oasis T-shirt?
I go through waves like that. Sometimes I'll take the money on run for a good week or two, and I'm just like, yeah, that offer's okay. There's profit. And then, you know, if there's money in the bank and I'm feeling a bit richer, I'm like, you know, I'm ruthless. If someone offers me too low, I'm like, no, I'll wait for the next buyer. And it always bites me in the bum because I'm thinking afterwards, I should have taken that money. You know,
it's a fine line for sure. I personally, I think I've got better at it. Maybe just because I've just been doing it for so long, and I'm so used to messaging people back and you know, and saying, "Oh yeah, you know, we'll do this, we'll do that," and then they're gone. I think I think sometimes it's good to sort of strike while the iron's hot, because you know, if you give them too long to sort of mull it over and this, that, and the other, you quickly get distracted and then you forget about it. Oh yeah,
timing is massive in sales, isn't it? Yeah. So that's a good win. 350 quid, 2 quid into 350 quid is pretty good, I suppose. We'll see in the future episodes if anyone can beat that. I might make a little leaderboard.
Yeah.
Any big losses you can remember?
A big loss. I think my biggest loss. I can't think of one. I haven't ever had one specific one that was just like a massive loss, but I can think of a couple of wholesalers I bought from in the past, and I've got like some really good stuff, and I'll be like, oh, brilliant. But then once you've gone through it and everything, and then you realize what you're left with, you're a bit like, it's a bit crap. Once you start getting stuff that's like, you don't want to sell it. It's like, you're not going to sell it your best, are you? So I've been stung a few times there, you know, maybe a couple $100 or something like that. But to be honest, I've been quite lucky. And a lot of the time, if I do get stuff like that, I'll either bundle it up and just put it up for cheap on eBay. Just, you know, I'll lose a bit of money on it, but it's get it out the door, bit of money back in my pocket, just free up a bit of space in the office. So I can't really argue with that. But no, in terms of like huge losses, I think I've been quite lucky. Once again, touch wood. I've been quite fortunate. I've only ever sort of lost out on just things like that. Yeah.
Just the raggedy ends of bales, I suppose. Then.
Yeah, just look at the draw in it on a lot of them. So it's you know, it's always, there's always a chance you're gonna get a file shite. But
yeah, definitely. I mean, we've been selling Woolrich for about 12 years, maybe 13. That was my first ever wholesale from abroad. And I was buying 4 or 5 bales, 45 kilogram bales. I reckon I've still got stuff either in storage or in this cabin or at one of the shops from 12 years ago.
It wasn't so bad. I keep finding stuff occasionally that I don't even remember having.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, then. Little bit of a swerve. Is there any particular trends or parts of the vintage industry that you really dislike you want to share?
I dislike? Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what do I not like in the vintage industry?
Yeah, I mean, it could be people, it could be a certain seller. Not that you should be shouting them out on here, but you know what I mean.
No, luckily I've had very good experiences with pretty much all sellers, to be honest.
Like style or crap brand that you don't rate.
Brand, damn. Brands is a hard one because like I'm quite objective with my brands. If there's something I really don't like in the vintage industry,
yeah.
I'll tell you what I don't like. Whenever I go on Vinted, this really annoys me. Whenever I go on Vinted, you know, there's like a minimum you can set. Not a minimum you set. Like, so if someone offers you, like, say you've got someone for like 50 quid, I think the minimum they can offer you is like 40% less or something like that.
Right.
So like, I don't know. So it's like 50 quid and someone offers me 30. If you accept that 30, they can then offer you the same 40% less. And like, occasionally people message me and offer me like way less, and I'll just think, like, I'll look at the item and think, I've had it a while, get it gone. Go, right, yeah, spot on. And then I'll look at it and then they'll offer me even less, and I'm like, hold on. And like, I'm not a very confrontational person. If something does go you know, like that, I try and be as diplomatic as possible, because I just don't see the point in losing your head over something like that. But stuff like that really annoys.
Like when, so if, say your item is 40 quid and then you offer it for 30 and they accept, but then they come back and offer you 25.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's just like, you cheeky bugger.
I know, you cheeky bugger.
Well, I tell you what I did have to yesterday, though. You'll enjoy this one. I had a pair of, I think it was a pair of jeans I sent to someone. Oh no, it was a jacket. No, jeans. Sorry, my mistake. I sent a pair of jeans to someone a while ago, and they messaged me. I think there was a hole in them or something like that I hadn't seen. So they brought it up with Depop, and I was just said, fine, just return them. I'll get them fixed, and that's all. Because once again, I'd rather just, because I know they do partial refunds on Depop now, but I'd much rather just have the item back, fix it, sell it. Just the way I prefer to do things. So I immediately replied, send it, get them to send it back. I'll full refund, no problem. So yep, great. And I got back today, and they're a fairly big size pair of jeans. I got back yesterday, and I had an email off Depop that I just missed saying, the item's been returned, we've refunded them. I was like, right, great, perfect. Got home, and outside the front of my house is this parcel. I'm like, oh, must be the jeans. And I get there, and it should be about year big. It's a parcel like this, and I'm like, what? And I pick it up and I think, is that for me? And I open it up, and it's it's just a pair of like kids' jeans, just any old jeans. So what he's done is took the jeans, kept them, and then chucked any old crap back in the bag and posted it back to me.
You raised it with him?
I have, yeah. I didn't go after him. I just raised it with Depop. It's pointless, because if you're going after someone like that, it's just a he said, she said sort of thing. You're just gonna shout it back. It's like, once again, I didn't see the point, but I just immediately thought, you cheeky bugger. I've never had anyone do that to me in like 5,000 odd sales. I've never had someone do that.
There is a way around it. If you use Royal Mail, on the receipt it will give you the weight of the parcel you've sent, and then on the sticker of the parcel that they've sent back to you, it should be the same weight. And if it's not, then you'll win the argument.
Very true. Yeah. Luckily, the postman took a photo for the proof of postage. Yeah. And then obviously I opened it and said, look, this is what arrived. Hopefully they'll side with me. End of the day, it's not the end of the world. I just thought, I can't believe someone's tried that for the first time in God knows how many years. I didn't think people did that anymore, but clearly.
They're cheeky, aren't they? I can't believe it.
Yeah. Madness.
All right, then. What's the weirdest thing you've ever found in like a pocket, or the coolest thing in a bale that shouldn't have been there, or the ickiest thing? So there's a lot of icky things in jeans, isn't there?
There can be. A lot of the time, I'll just find old currency or like random currency. A lot of the time, like I sold a load of jeans to some mates of mine, and they kept messaging me and just being like, "Oh yeah, I found this, and it'd just be like coins or like bits of like a shopping list or so. I get quite a lot of them. If you ever order anything off Vinted and someone puts it in a Tesco bag, you usually get someone's shopping list. That's always a good one.
Yeah.
I always read it and I think, that is a shocking shopping list. I'm like, what are you buying?
What are you buying, mate?
Yeah.
Think about your
Luckily, a lot of the guys I use tend to dry clean stuff now for me before I get it. So it's actually in much better condition. But I can think of times where, like, years ago, I remember ordering stuff like when I first started back, like, I think the first time I ever ordered wholesale was probably like 19. I remember getting these jackets in and the bag had split and they were like hoodies and they got wet on the inside. That was a nightmare. I had to like take them all out, go and take them all, get them washed, dried, back again. I was like, God's sake, I wasted so much money on that, but I couldn't. It was soaked. So I was like, well, what are you going to do, really? I had to go back and sort of say, look, could you wrap them up a bit better next time? I think I did get some money back, if I'm not mistaken. But
I've had one like that recently. So I bought I have a hand picker that works with us sometimes. She's Polish. Okay. And I don't know where she works, but she sells to me almost every week, and she's pretty cool. And she got me 7 barber jackets. And I pay a standard price for them all, but a few of them are like mega, whereas the majority of them are, I can double my money on. But one of them was really old. It's a Barber Borders jacket from like 1987 or something. Okay. I'm going through the pockets as you do, just to double check the holes and stuff like that. And there was a really old Tesco bag, like someone had perfectly folded it really neat. Yeah. And the receipt in, like you just said, and the receipt was Tesco like 1987 or something. And I looked at the Tesco bags, and the Tesco bags on its own, people sell the weirdest things on eBay. Yeah. Used Tesco bags isn't selling for like 15 quid.
You're joking?
I was like, how on earth is that happening? But
it's true.
I know. Well, I suppose it's nostalgic, isn't it?
One question I did actually have for you was because I see you do a lot of like wax, like barber and whatnot. In terms of like when you buy them, I'm guessing a lot of the time the wax will come off at some point, won't it? Do you tend to re-wax them, or do you just sell them as is? Like, do you sell them without the wax?
I used to, so we used to have them done with this guy who did them, and I was paying him 30 quid per time, and he would clean them like an acid wash, clean them for me, and then re-wax them for me 30 quid a time. And he's quit doing it now. And the cheapest I can find anyone to do it for me is like 55 quid a pop. But the thing is, I'll have to show you some later on. But some of these old barbers, they look a real mess. But once you've cleaned them, they're like brand new. It's only the wax that carries the dirt and makes them smell.
I suppose that's not quite the wax though, right? Protective layer.
Yeah. I've seen like loads of videos on putting in the washing machine, and then you can wax them just hung up, and it's so easy. But if something's ultra rare, because I've just sold a taquito wax, which is like a Japanese designer for barber, and we sold that for big money, and we had that re-waxed because it's like a £700 jacket, so it was worth having re-waxed. Whereas if we kept it in the crappy condition we received it in, we would have got like 300 quid. In fact, to show you, I've got a taquito here.
Yeah, sure. Let's have a look.
That's a taquito.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is tiny.
A bit more to it. It's all like tweed on the inside.
Is there a removable lining, or is it?
It's a removable lining. This whole rail, in fact, is kind of stuff I don't want to sell.
Yeah, stuff you're being false.
You know how it is. But I keep it there. I put it there for this podcast just so it looks cool. Really.
Yeah, it does look good, to be fair.
Yeah. But like you should do yours. You should have a little setup. No, we'll get you back on for next time when you've got like a man cave part.
Yeah, I'll have to set it up. Yeah, this office, it's quite high ceilings in here, but I tend to. I've got a lot of things on shelves. Really, find it to be. I don't know if you can see, but it's there's I turned it the way it's beam. The previous guy started painting and then never finished, but the actual ceilings in there are really high, so it's quite convenient when instead of like hanging stuff up now, I tend to fold it all in shelves. Just
are you ground floor? What's your place like? Tell us about your place.
I'm very top floor, so I'm basically just above like an accountant and a few other things, just in my local town, and I just happened to. I was looking for offices at the time because I actually used to work below here, and then I ended up just coming up here and just doing bits and bobs when I was just coming and going when I worked part-time, but then was also doing this and just like fresh out of college. And at the time it was just like cack up. And then recently, when I was just doing it for my house to begin with when I started again, I realized I needed an office, and then this place just happened to be up again for sale, so up for rent. So I was like, well, I'll come and grab it. Yeah, it's 2 rooms though. It's this room, which is where I do pretty much all my photography and everything. I don't know if you can see there, but that's where I do all my photography.
Yeah.
It looks a bit of a mess because I've got the just the pile of stuff ready to be ironed, but yeah, I just do all the photography over there because in front of me is all skylights, which sounds nice for lighting, but the problem is it's not consistent. So then you'd end up with photos with all inconsistent lighting. So I like to have it over there in a bit of a dark spot so it can just have the big lights on, all the photos look consistent. And then there's just another room here where I just have all my stock, basically.
I like that. I keep seeing this new trend on Instagram and a few other places. You know, when they're doing flat lays and I think they're usually outside or with a window nearby, and then you can see like shadow across the flat lay. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but it looks so nice instead of just being so perfect all the time. I like the shadow. I think it's cool.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I could definitely do something like that in here, just with my skylights, but the only problem is I have to get I might have to get that table and move it over here or something. I'll just have my desk here for now, but to be honest, I need to move it really just because where I'm sat now, like I said, it's just all windows above me. Lovely in winter, but in summer you just get the heat just beaming down on you all day. It gets hot in here. This office is pretty much hot all year round. When I first came in here, it was like late last year, and just because everyone else has the heating on downstairs and I'm very top floor, I've never had to turn on the heating in it because I'm just permanently boiling. It's just always hot. It's either if it's not hot from the sun, it's hot from the heating. So yeah.
We had a 450 square foot kind of like warehouse unit in Stafford, not far from the tip. Good location for it. 1 mile away from where we live. And our price was $650 per month for that. There was no bills included, which I absolutely loved. And we were just underneath that 500 square foot bracket for rates, council rates.
Yes.
So $650 all in, pretty good. And I'd got like loads of space. And then we gave that up to open the retail shop, and we had this cabin built at the back. Now this cabin is like pretty cold in the winter, even though I've insulated everything. And it was boiling in the summer. Like I'm hot, I'm warm now. I can't put a fan on because of the microphone. But, like touch the ceiling and it's hot. I can't get it hot. Yeah, but I am saving money, aren't I, in the long run? So I
suppose so. Yeah, I mean, do you like with the? I was going to say, so is that behind the shop then? So do you like?
No, we've got this cabin at the back of our house. We've had all the gardens.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and when we got married, we stayed in Eloise's house. We're in the house that she bought just before she met me.
Sure.
Instead of us moving, I got rid of my place and we came here and we renovated, like landscaped the garden. Had big 38 foot by 14 foot cabin built. Okay. Which sounds big, but it's still not enough. I want more.
I don't think it ever matters. You know what? Whenever you build something like that, you always want more. You always feel quick enough.
Like you just said, it's messy. But that's the life of a vintage seller. It's never going to be perfect. This isn't a retail shop.
I try my best. I try and keep on top of it all, but there's only so much you can do. My main issue at the moment is that room is really good because it's all wood laminate. This room is carpeted. And it's been carpeted since, I swear, like the 80s or something like that. It's shocking. And it's this like horrible fibrous stuff. And I keep saying every year, I'm like, I'm going to rip it up and I'm going to put down wood laminate. I ain't done it yet, but I've just been pretty much every other day. I'm in here hoovering like Billy-O because it just gets so dusty. Once again, it's fine in there because if it does get dusty, obviously there's a lot of cotton in there, so it does get dusty. But it's fine because it's all wood laminate, so I'll just give it a quick hoover. But this place can be a bit of a pain sometimes, so that's on the list of things to do for next year, definitely.
My issue is spiders, not dust.
Oh, really?
Because it's in the garden. Even though we've got no grass or anything anymore, but it's still spiders. Just can't go rid of them. I'll just hoover them up.
It's just the dust in it. Hopefully, I try and just keep all the windows open as often as possible, keep air blowing through and everything, but there's only so much you can do, really, besides just ripping it all up and starting again. I do actually need to finish painting the place as well. I don't know if you can tell, but that beam behind me, someone started doing it and then just stopped.
It looks nice. I tell you, I'm jealous of your big space. Thanks for mate.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
I wanted to ask you what else you got going on. Anything special this year you got coming up?
I got 2 pop-ups coming up this month. I'm doing a pop-up in Liverpool on, I think that's this Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Sunday the 18th. And then that's, I forget the name. Sorry, the company that I'm doing pop-up with will hate me for not shouting them out for that. But and then I've also got another one on the 31st in Manchester, which is with Fashion Thrift Society. Which
that's is that Piccadilly? Is that on Piccadilly?
No, I can't remember exactly. I literally just signed up for both of them yesterday, so I actually can't remember where they're being hosted right now. But they're always big events, so I thought, I'd seen last year it was a big event, so I thought, well, this year if they come back, because they're an Australian-based company, so I thought, well, I'll try and get back.
Great way to get your name out, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't usually. A lot of pop-ups I do, I don't tend to find they're like massive money makers or anything like that. But a lot of the time, I just kind of enjoy going on because like it can be quite a solitary job because it's just you really. Or obviously in your case, it's like you and your partner. I've just hired someone recently, so it's me and he's actually my neighbor, but it's me and my neighbor essentially who's just come out of sixth form, so he wanted a job. And it he's only in 2 days a week, so he'll be in tomorrow and they'll be in with me on Friday. But besides that, a lot of the time you don't really, communicate with a lot of other sellers. So it's quite nice when you go to these pop-ups and you just sort of like put a face to a name.
Yeah.
It's good to have a bit of a crack, really. I've got one of them big pop-up sign things and whatnot, so I'm all prepped. But they're also quite good as well. If you just got stock that you try to move on that maybe isn't like, moving quite as quick as you like, it's quite good to get rid of cheaper stock. Because, if something's like a t-shirt's for like 10 or 15 quid or something like that, who's not going to just say, oh, yeah, go on, give me one.
Yeah. So, 3 for 2, stuff like that.
Yeah, I tend to find the good stuff like that.
That's what we tend to do. We'll do 3 for 2, and it's the cheapest item that's free. So,
yeah. I was going to ask actually. Do you find that you're do you find that you get more sales online or?
Yeah, well,
in the store?
There's a weird cycle to our business, and it's only I've only kind of thought about it this year properly because obviously we met on Whatnot, which is a big important part of the business for anyone now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially if you don't want to do markets. But my conveyor belt starts at I go out buying, whether I'm getting wholesale delivered here or dealing with my hand picker Zenith. Nearly all of those items, 90% of those items will hit the website. And if it doesn't sell on the website after about 6 months, it goes to our retail shop. And if it doesn't sell in the retail shop after about 6 months, it ends up going to the market. We sell at Pinkridge, which is like a small market on the edge of Staffordshire, like a farmer's market actually, but we're the only vintage clothes seller there, so it works quite well. And then if that stuff doesn't sell, it goes on Whatnot for £1 a piece. And I'm not going to pretend that I've mastered Whatnot. I've probably done, I think we've done like 12 shows, and we've probably done about $7,000, which sounds like a big number. But, I thought we would be doing £1,000 a show, in all honesty. Or maybe more. I've even sold like North Face stuff. I've sold North Face fleeces new with tags for like 20 quid. But you don't want to break that £1 mold.
It's one of them things I found because to be honest, I haven't streamed on Whatnot for a little while now, just because I started on there, but I just don't have time at the moment. I've just been so busy recently that I just said, look, I'm just gonna have to take a bit of a step back from it because I'm just a little bit too busy. It's definitely something I'll come back to for sure.
Me too.
But I found that people really are looking for a bargain on there, and I think because it's a fairly new platform in the UK, because I think it's massive in America. Well, I know it's massive in America, but because it's a fairly new one in the UK, people are generally just looking for a bargain. So I tend to find I'd curate a few consistent people who want to come in and they're pretty reasonable with spending. Like I said, most of my shorts I used to sell for 45 peak of summer, and then I thought, well, I'll do them on one for like 25. I thought some of the stuff that's like, I thought I'll do some of my more premium stuff, but I thought just to sort of get people in the door, get people interested coming back. But even then, you're still getting people coming in saying like, can you do it for £1? Does the stuff for whatever? And it's like, well, no, because like it's not really worth my time.
Yeah, we've undersold a lot of stuff on there, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those items, I always think to myself, I could have just reduced them and left them in the shop and reduced them from, say, 20 quid to a tenner, and they probably would have sold, like made a sale way or something. But
yeah, that's one way of looking at it. But at the same time, it's like if you're spending time doing that, and you know, it's like you could have. No, because actually, I was going to say if you spend them doing that, you could have been used better. But at the same time, I suppose by spending the time on whatnot, you could make the same argument. So it's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it?
It's all wins. And I don't know about you, I like to have a little bit of pie in every section because we sell mostly on our website. There's a bit of market. Then there's like eBay. We've got a couple of eBay stores. eBay, Depop, Vinted, Etsy, which we've just closed actually because the tracking looks rubbish on there for us.
I've never used Etsy, to be honest.
Yeah, Facebook Marketplace and the market, you know, and then whatnot. And I like to have a little bit of everything if I can.
Yeah, it makes sense. Diversification definitely in this industry definitely helps because it's you know, if you have everything on one platform and then God forbid say you're banned or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, we're not talking like it's not pocket money, is it? It's like a significant part of your income.
Yeah, like Facebook Market, I buy a lot of Burberry. And I know my Burberry. I've been buying and selling for 16 years, and I don't want to say you're an expert, but I know my stuff about Burberry.
Yeah.
I'm uploading stuff onto Facebook Marketplace because we cross list. We use Zip Sale, I don't know if you've heard of it, and it cross lists to every platform for us, makes it a bit easier. And like I've got Facebook coming to me saying, "Oh, you know, you've broken their rule. This item isn't allowed on Facebook." Like, or you can't sell fake products on Facebook in a professional thing. I'm like, what you don't even know what you're on about?
yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it? No, I remember I used to quite enjoy Burberry as well in terms of like because the main one I used to always look for when I was trying to authenticate is the tag on the inside of the outer pockets for the jacket, the one that's like which has like the size on, which usually I read and actually have no idea because I'm like, what am I? I'm like a 48, and I'm like, is that? I'm like, what's that? Yeah, because it's like British size and whatever it is, but yeah.
And I found out that Facebook. So we've tried to sell loads of stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and it's good because we get lots of local buyers who didn't know we had a shop, and they come and pick up an item, and we give them a card, and then they'll start using our shop. So it works quite well. But I figured out eventually. So in 1991, when they changed from Burberry's with an S, Burberry. So Facebook, for a start, doesn't really allow any Burberry's with an S on the end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or Burberry's London, and they cancel it all. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I actually prefer some of the older stuff, the Burberry stuff. One of the first proper vintage finds I ever got was the alternate colour, the dark blue with the red pattern. Yeah. I found at Harrington one of them, with the pop-up collar that like attaches across with the centerpiece. I got one of them in a charity shop in about 2016 for about £8. And I remember like that was like my first proper like vintage find. I think I sold that jacket then, which I'm kind of sad about. I wish I hadn't. It was just a little bit too long on me. But I wore that jacket for like 5-6 years. I love that jacket. I used to wear it all the time.
That's the problem with this industry. Like sellers regret.
Yeah, I know. Easy one, isn't it? I always tell myself, you'll find something else. My girlfriend always comes in and she'll just sort of pick up bits and bobs and be like, "Oh yeah, can I buy this off you?" And I'm like, well, I wouldn't really bother because like just take it, and then when you're bored with it in a week, like I'll just sell it again. So that's what I do now. I say just take it, and then it's the same with the lad who works for me, Charlie. I'll say to him like he picked up like a jumper and was like, "Oh, can I buy this?" And I just said, "Just have it, and then when you're bored of it, bring it back. And you swap out for something else. We'll sell it. Just keep it going." Because I just don't see the point of like I'm not going to charge you for it because like it's not really the end of the world, and like eventually you'll probably get a bit sick of it, and then just bring it back and I'll sell it.
Yeah, so, I've got a few mates like that. They love that I've got a vintage store, and they kind of prey on me and take advantage a little bit because they know I'm not going to charge them loads of money for stuff. Yeah. I know where you come from. It's good to be good though, and it comes round.
Yeah, I just think a lot of the time it's like you try to sell something to family and friends. It's just never worth it. Like there's how many people there were like 6 billion or 8 billion. You don't need to be selling to your mates, really, do you? Like
I know. I wanted to ask you. Social media is pretty new for us. We've been working quite hard the last 2 years on there. But in all honesty, I've done pretty much nothing on social until 2 years ago. And I'm loving it now. That's why I've started this. I wanted to ask you if you are following anyone really cool that we might not know about that we could share in the captions.
What, like cool pages that just post like interesting stuff and things like that?
Yeah, someone you look up to, someone that's been in it a while, or even a newbie making waves.
Someone that I look up to on Instagram. Oh, definitely. A seller I've been following literally since like I first started would be Smooth Cactus. I used to, he's a pretty big seller. I think he's got like 60, 70K on Instagram. I've spoken to him a few times. He's a nice guy, but I just remember when I first started, his like the way he took his photos and everything used to like blow me away. It looked so much more professional than anyone else, and like. I think he pretty much just does his own website now. I think he might be on Depop, but doesn't really bother that much anymore.
Nice one. Definitely check him out.
Yeah, no, give him a look because it's just the level of professionalism he has in his photos. And like, I didn't want to be one of them guys, but I messaged him and was like, "What camera did you use?" And he was like, "Oh, it's just an iPhone." And I was like, I've literally been Android all my life. I ran out and got an iPhone because I was like, I want to get the good photo quality.
I'm exactly the same as you, you know. I used to have cameras and stuff, and now phones are just easier.
It's just, you never, I mean, it all gets compressed anyway by the time you upload it. So it doesn't matter how good it is. And like, the iPhones are the most, like, the most compatible 90% of the time. So it's like, might as well just stick to it. Although I've just smashed this, actually. I smashed this a couple of days ago. So I'll be waiting a month or two and I'll be getting a 16, I think, because I can't be walking around with a smash one.
I'm waiting for mine to go. I mean, this is the Google Pixel 7 Pro or 6 Pro. I can't remember.
Yeah. I used to have all the Google phones. I used to have all the Nexus phones, and then I had all the Google phones, which like predated the Google phone. I used to have all of them.
I mean, we can run it through the business and everything, but there's no need at the moment. And I think I'm just paying for bandwidth or whatever. I'm not paying for phone anymore.
Yeah, I just bought this outright, and then because obviously it's like it very much is a business expense because I do 99% of my work on it. It's you know listing, it's photographs, it's all the social media, it's talking to all the customers. You know, it's probably just as important, if not more important, than my laptop at this point.
Makes sense to have the best. You don't want to pay too much tax at the end of the year, so it makes sense.
Yeah, well, I just thought like you know I could have got a cheap one, this, that, and the other, but at the same time, it's like it's very much an obvious write-off. And it's like, you know, you need. I thought if I'm gonna like spend money and because I need a good camera, this, that, and the other, why not get the best one? So
cool.
That's not theory anyway.
Well, mate, we've been going a little bit longer than I thought. We've got a few more minutes for the silly questions at the end.
Sure, go ahead.
We've done minus the few minutes where I was tinkering around figuring it all out. I think we've done about 50 minutes, you know.
Yep.
All right then. So. One word answers, yeah?
Sure.
Just so we can get to know you a little bit better before the end. And then we'll link everything in the bio so you can all follow Jonty at Nighttime and check his stuff out. Okay, one word answers. Where can we usually find you hanging out?
Skate park.
Okay. Hobbies outside selling vintage?
Cars.
Oh, really? Okay. Cool. We'll have to diversify a bit here then. Tell us about your cars. What are you into?
Mostly all BMWs. I've had about 3 E46s. Had an E36. I've currently got an MX-5 actually, an MX-5 track car. In fact, I've had a couple of off-roaders. I've had all sorts. I'm currently selling the MX-5. If anyone wants an MX-5. I've sold an MX-5 track car and I'll be getting probably another old BMW because I just like old BMWs. That's what I do, you know, everything when I do pop-ups and stuff, I just cram it all in that.
Wicked. I miss mine. I had a BMW as well and I've got a van now and I just miss it. I'm
I should probably get a van, really, but...
Yeah, I know. Yeah. If BMW did vans, it'd be great.
I know, it'd be great.
All right then, hobby, you've done that one. What's your favourite restaurant?
Local one, Salvana's, Italian quality.
Okay, what do you eat when you're in Salvana's?
I'm boring. Everyone usually hates it. Ham, mushroom, and olive.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? Simpsons. Probably Simpsons. No, I'll retract that. Star Trek. Massive Star Trek fan.
Oh, Trekkie. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm a sci-fi nerd as well.
Yeah. DS9. I've probably rewatched it about like 8 times now.
Cool. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Probably Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Bit of a boring choice, but it is a good one. So.
Am I here to amuse you?
Yeah. Probably my favorite film, to be honest.
Favorite music artist or band?
Favorite music live? Put me on the spot there. Damn. Come on, think. I would say Kanye West, but I can't really say him anymore.
Kanye, yeah. I mean, what's going on with Kanye? He's wild, isn't he?
Who knows? Who knows? I think if you can separate the music from the lunacy, you can still say him, but he is a bit mad at this point. Probably like the Beatles or something like that, though. I've always had a soft spot for the Beatles. Yeah, mostly because I grew up with them. Like I used to listen to them a lot when I was a kid.
Last thing, I've got the Surface Pro set up on the stand, so I can't do it on the Surface Pro. And I kind of figured out after setting it up, I should have the laptop in front of me and should like recording off the phone, but I'm still learning.
You learn it, don't you?
So I've got 2 items for you. I wanted to do 3, but I've lost it. And I'm going to show you a picture and give you a quick description, and then you've got to guess the price, what it sold for. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
If we get you a third in time, we will. So have a look at that.
Is that Jenko's?
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Jenko's. No cheating. I know you've got a computer in front of you.
Well, no, I'll hold my hands up. Rising Scans, did they sell in the UK or in the US? Does it say? Is it like a UK seller or a US seller? Do you know?
Yeah, UK seller, 100% feedback, 59 feedback. So I don't think they're professional or anything.
Okay, 34.30 though. I mean, ideally, it's a good size and everything, and they look in fairly decent condition with a little bit of scuff in. I mean, I'll give you 2 prices. I'll give you one that it probably should sell for, and probably what it did sell for. I reckon it should sell for about probably somewhere in the sort of high hundreds, low 200s, but I bet it sold for less. I bet it sold for like 120 or something like that.
Not bad. 7 bids, 160.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, if you go to America, people are asking ridiculous money. I know wholesalers that are selling Jenkos to guys in America for about that, and they're paying that wholesale. So ridiculous.
There was another pair. Don't want to go all the same, but you are denim dude.
Yeah.
So, this is on someone's bed.
Oh, nice. Okay, Emperor VZ's multi-pocket salvage. Size 32, once again, good size. Got a lot going for them, haven't they? Yeah, they're a bit of a lot of VZ stuff's quite Marmite. It's
99% feedback, UK seller.
I would guess about 75. I'm saying on them, a bit cheaper, just because Avizu is expensive, but they're quite a niche piece. If it's the big M on the back, it's usually a bit more, but because it's the little one, I reckon about 75, 85.
Respect, mate. Pretty good.
Nice. Yeah, I think people are a little. If it's the big one all the way down the legs, that one goes for more. But I think when it's a small logo, people aren't as jazzed about it.
£5 out is pretty respectable.
Cheers.
All right, then let's do one quick one. Just because we've got a little bit of time.
Yeah, go for it.
And then we'll call it a day. So this is a well-known competitor of mine. Doing a good job.
Nothing like a bit of friendly advice. Well, they're 550s then.
Yeah, they are.
Levi's 5. Yep. 550s. 3230s. All right.
90s.
Yeah.
Oh shit! You can see.
I was gonna wait and say 62.99.
All right then, we'll call it quits there. But I need to get better at this. But
you'll have to screenshot and crop it next time.
Yeah, I will. I'll get better at that. But learning. But thanks for getting involved. And
yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very much.
It's cool. I think you got loads to talk about, and I'd like to get you back on at some point, maybe 6 months down the line when your business might have changed a bit. But I know people are going to learn loads from you, so thanks for getting involved, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Appreciate you.
I'll send it all over and link you up and everything. But nice one. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.